In this coffee lecture, I will give you some information about the open access publishing options and the financing of open access publications. And I will also give a short update on the situation that we are facing in 2025. As researchers, you are all very aware of the importance of the question where to publish your research results. And there are always different questions involved, like which journal has the right scope for my research subject? Does the journal have a good quality of the publications that it publishes in general? If your research has been funded by, for example, the SNSF, you have to meet the requirements of the funders. And last but not least, if you choose a publishing way where there are fees for publishing, you need to know where you can get funding for this publication fees and what are the criteria to get some funding. So if you are thinking about what journal you should choose, it's always a good idea to consult your peers, of course, and members of your institute. And there are several tools also that are very useful for the research of a good journal to publish in. For example, there are whitelists like the OAJ that lists open access journal, and journals listed in there, they need to meet quite a lot of quality criteria. So if you find a journal in there, normally you can assume that it's a good quality journal. With, for example, ThinkCheck Submit, you can check a journal also with different questions. You're led through a process of checking a journal. And there is also Bison. Bison is a tool where if you're looking for a journal that meets or that fits your research very well, so you can fill in Bison the title and the abstract and also the references of your publication. And Bison gives you a list of journals that fits the most the content of your publication. And there is a new feature of Bison that has been added lately. So Bison also shows you the funding options of all the journals in the list. If you choose a journal and you just want to know the funding options you have, then you can use the OA Finder, where you can put in an ISSN or a journal title, and you get the funding information for this specific journal. All these tools, you can find them on our website too. On this slide, all the publishing ways you can choose if you publish your publication are put together. So on the left, you have the possibility of, if you want to publish in a subscription journal, there are no costs for the authors if you publish there. But if you are funded, for example, for the SNSF, you don't meet the requirements from the SNSF because you have to publish it open access. So if you have to publish open access, you can choose the green way if you are published in a subscription journal, and there you publish your accepted manuscript, for example, in a repository as a Boris portal. There you just have to be very aware of the embargoes from the publisher. The other way of publishing open access with no cost for authors are the diamond journals. These are journals that finance themselves by institutions, by consortia, by crowdfunding, and so on. So there are no costs if you publish in there. And there is the gold open access way, where you have to pay author processing charges to publish online. There are two different possibilities. The one is read and publish deals. You can get funding for publication. These are deals with specific publishers, and if your journal is covered by one of these deals, you can get funding for them. Then is there, if you have funded for your research from the SNSF, you can get funding also for your publication, only if it's in a fully gold open access journal. So the hybrid way where there is a closed journal that offers you the possibility of publish open access if you pay a fee. This is not covered by the SNSF. The same goes for the Open Access Fund at the University of Bern. There also only pure open access gold journals are covered. So the read and publish deals, as I said, there are deals with several different publishers. These deals include a reading part. That means that people at the University of Bern can read the closed access of these journals, and they have a publishing part which covers open access fees for authors at the University of Bern. Some of the agreements have a quota of how many publications are included, and other cover all publications. These deals are restricted to a certain list of journals, so not forcefully all the journals are included in the deals. Often the gold journals, for example, are not included. You can find all this information on the read and publish deals on the website. And if you go to this list, then you can choose the publisher where you want to publish with, and you get all information about the journal lease, quota, from when to when the agreement is valid, and so on. You find on this site also the email from the e-support team where you can ask all questions that are not answered on this side. For the read and publish deals, I cannot tell a lot about 2025. Some agreements are still ongoing. They were signed for 2024 and the following years. Then there are several negotiations for 2025 going on. And especially with Wiley, there has been no deal yet for 2025. And the University of Bern is preparing for a potential situation without a contract in 2025. The team of the e-library informs you on the website and in the newsletter on every news on all these agreements and the negotiations going on. Then there is the Open Access Fund at the University of Bern. The Open Access Fund was a part of the National Open Access Fund that was from Swiss universities from 2022 to 2024. And if you apply for funding for this fund, you have to meet some criteria. As I said already, only gold open access publications are considered. Then you have to apply with the application form. And criteria are, for example, that your APCs may not be higher than 2,500 Swiss francs. If they are higher, the fund doesn't finance anything. So you cannot get 2,500 francs if the APCs are 3,500 francs or anything else above the 2,500. Then the corresponding author needs to have a valid campus account and a campus email from the university. And there it is important to know that faculty campus emails are not eligible for the fund. Then another important criteria is the license. We only fund publications with a CC BY license, so no NC or ND licenses. The money in the fund is also limited each year. You have on our website this, let's call it fuel indicator, where you always can see how much money is left for the ongoing year. For 2024, we have a little funds left, but not that much, so it might be exhausted in the following days. For the Frontiers publication, unfortunately, the funds have been exhausted quite some time ago already. For 2025, the Swiss Universities Fund is ending in 2024, but And these are the great news. The University of Bern has committed additional funding for the fund, so we can go on as we used to. And also, there is a new agreement with Frontiers, and it's likely to be signed very soon. This means that we didn't have to change a lot in the funding criteria. Quite everything is the same as in 2024. We decided also in accordance with the recommendations for institutional publication funds that has been established by the ACOA for all funds for 2025. There are two little changes. We will no longer accept publications if the invoice has already been paid. So we do no refunds anymore. So please, if you want to apply for funding, always send us the application before you pay the invoice. This is the same for the SNSF. They won't do any reimbursements anymore in 2025. And the second change is that we adapted the workflow for book publications a little bit. We created a new application form that is more adapted for books. On our website, you will find all the updated information at December 20th, the latest, and there you also will find all the delays and the information for the publications from 2024. Here you can find, again, a summary of where you can find funding for APCs with the links and the hint. Always really look at your financing options before you submit your publication to a journal that has high APC fees. Here you see, again, the information on the open access team with all our services. And now, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.